Hey everyone, Once Bitten here with another battle report. It has certainly been a while since I've played a game, since the last tournament. I've just been busy with life. And so I've had a Skype game request from Woot12341234. I will just call him Woot from now on. Requested a Skype game, and I've been putting it off just because the timing wasn't good. And so I finally had some time this weekend to do it. Um, it's kind of funny. We actually started the game, I think, around 11:30, or at least that's when we started talking and setting up terrain and stuff. And I don't think we wrapped up the game until 6. And by the time I cleaned up everything, it was probably 8. And my family was none too happy with me. Skype is just having a lot of problems. I'm a little bit disenchanted with the Skype game phenomenon right now, just because the sound was so bad. We kept on getting not disconnected, but what'd you say? What'd you say? A minute or two later, we finally can answer a simple question. But anyway, this game was a lot of fun. I was especially excited because he's playing Empire, and he put together a list using the models that I have based on what he's seen in battle reports. And I need to prepare a 3,000 point list for an upcoming tournament. And so I was able to see someone else play a list that I likely, very nearly what I will play in the near future. So anyway, starting on the left, he's got a great cannon with Master Engineer, a Hellblaster volley gun, a captain on Imperial Pegasus, equipped as you can see. There's 5 archers who are part of a detachment for the greatswords, and they have another detachment of 5 archers on the other side of them. They've got the Standard of Discipline, the Celestial Hurricane behind them, the General Archlector with them. There's a unit of 10 Inner Circle Knights. There they are, Banner of Eternal Flame, and they've got a Warrior Priest. So I like that combo because when they hit, they get a reroll to hit, and it's strength 6. That can be nasty. Next to them, you can see 20 models. The front rank are halberdiers. That's actually a detachment of 20 halberdiers that are attached to this unit of 39 halberdiers. And he's just got a bunch of characters in here. So there's a Warrior Priest. He has Captain Battle Standard Bearer, and then he's got 2 wizards, level 1 Beast and level 4 Lore of Light. So I thought this was interesting, and I'm very curious if this is how a lot of people play Empire. My feeling on it was that there's a lot of characters, a lot of points tied up in one unit that isn't all that terribly good. So I know that my goal was just to get in combat with them as quickly as possible. Now the ruins here, we're counting that as arcane ruins. We actually set up the board using the random terrain. So any wizard within 6 inches can dispel, can use up to 4 dice to channel. So he has 2 wizards, so he's channeling 8 dice every turn with those wizards. Brutal. He's got 10 handgunners in there. There's a steam tank and then another cannon. Facing him, on my far right as I'm playing, as he's seen it, far left, I've got a chariot, 5 harpies. And I really screwed up the harpies. When this game started, I vanguarded both units of harpies, and it didn't occur to me until I sat down to make the battle report. I mean, I put together all the pictures early this morning, and I'm just sitting down now to record it, and it just now occurred to me that harpies don't vanguard. And I looked at it pretty closely. I don't think it really affected things in the end, but it just makes me sick to think that. Anyway, I've got a large unit of gore next to him, extra hand weapon. There's 40 of them. And with them, if you look at the lower left-hand corner, it's my Great Brave Shaman, level 4 Lore of Beasts, with the Crown of Command, Talisman of Preservation, and Warrior Bane. I don't know where I got this build from. I pulled this list off of Army Builder that I just had sitting around forever. So anyway, that's why it's there. I've got a horde of Bestigor, and that has my Battle Standard Bearer with him. Behind him, that big rock-looking thing is my Herdstone, and I've got 2 Brave Shamans, both level 1 Shadow, next to that. One of them has the Chalice of Dark Rain, which hurts the one enemy shooting phase, and I forgot to use it. Let's see, then there's another Chariot, a Razor Gore, and the Doom Bull. Glad to see him in this list, very fragile, and I'm facing a list with 2 cannons and a steam tank. So he is very, very vulnerable to cannon fire. So I was able to hide him a little bit because of this, what was supposed to be a sinister statue, and we forgot to play it that way all game long. Anyway, but he's hiding a little bit there. There's a unit of gore, I believe there's 29 or 30 of them, and then some more harpies, vanguarding harpies. And then there's a Gorgon because I'm a glutton for punishment. So the only really good thing I have going for me is he has a steam tank and a cannon on the complete opposite side of the board, and there's enough terrain that it's kind of hard for him to see my Doom Bolt and my Gorgon, and the one on this side can't see the Gorgon. Or if he can, there's a house in the way and all that. So at least I have some protection there. And my plan here is just to keep him hidden until that cannon's gone, at least the cannon on this side, and then use a movement later. He's got a movement of, he can march 14 inches, so it's not a big deal. So we go to Beastmen turn 1. My vanguarding harpies fly up even further, and they are where you can see. And that's where I say on this side of the board I don't think it really matters, because if I backed up, what really would have happened was that I just probably would have been over 12 inches away from his Hellblaster, and I still could easily make any charge I wanted to make, so whatever. For the most part, I moved up. With the Doom Bolt, I'm just being aggressive. I know he's going to be able to shoot at him, but my thinking is it's easy for a cannon to wound him and get past his armor save, but what's not so easy is to kill him because he has 5 wounds. So I know there's a 33% chance he can kill my Doom Bolt, but after that, he might roll a 1 to wound, he might only do 2 wounds to me, and the Doom Bolt doesn't get wounded very often, so he might be okay. So very aggressive harpies here. And again, if they were back as many inches as I needed to, it wouldn't really have affected anything. I still feel bad for it. There's that. Other side of the board, different angle. Other side of the board. And this is one where it did matter, because I vanguarded him, I was able to fly behind his lines, which means that his handgunners could not have shot at him, and his steam tank could not have run into him. I don't think the steam tank, I think I could have stayed far enough away from the steam tank that isn't that much of an issue. The handgunners could have shot, and if they did, it just killed 2 of them, and I would have had to take a panic. So I feel sick. Inadvertently cheating. So to their magic phase, I got a big version of Amber Spear, or whatever that spell is called now, off on the steam tank. Dude, he let it through. I only did 2 wounds, but every little bit helps. Both level 1s lowered the ballistic skill of the Hurricanum, and both times when I rolled a d3, I only rolled a 1. So its ballistic skill is down a couple, which helps. And we go to Empire turn 1. For the most part, his knights and his halberdiers back up. His greatswords stay behind that fence, which is supposed to be a blazing barricade. And again, we both forgot about that all game. And then he uses, just kind of moving his chaff around. Over here, his steam tank zooms forward, I think, as much as he could, and it really didn't go all that far. And then we had a rules question. He plays Empire a bit and always plays it that the steam tank can only shoot straight ahead. And I told him that he was welcome to shoot at anything within a 45-degree angle, because without being able to do that, it seems like the steam tank is really restricted. That's very important because I want to be able to play the steam tank. So if anybody knows the rules to that, please let me know. So just some more angles. Looking down the lines, he flew his Captain and Pegasus kind of behind my lines where nobody can see him. Then he has a lot of options of things he can charge on his turn. The cannon shoots at my Doom Bolt. This is the one in the far right, his far right corner, and overshoots him, and goes through my chariot and kills a chariot. And I was very, very happy with that. Over here, the cannon shot at my chariot and wounded it and only did 3 wounds, and so then he finished it off with the steam tank, or vice versa, but whatever. I'm missing a chariot over here. Hellblaster opens up my harpies, and again the problem is his ballistic skill was lowered by 2. He could have moved his Master Engineer up to let him use his ballistic skill, in which case the hex I put on him would have done no good whatsoever. But I think it was more important to him to give the cannon the engineer's help, so that's why he left him where he was. So anyway, at the -2 ballistic skill and being a skirmisher, he was only able to kill 1, and so my harpies are free to do some charging. I go to Beastman turn 2, and it looks like that. Lots of things going on here. Let's get some close-ups. The harpies charge the cannon for a couple reasons. One, because I'm worried about the cannon shooting my Doom Bolt. another reason, if you look at the line at the bottom, I charged my Gorgon at the Hellblaster knowing that I needed a high roll to make it, but the reason I did it was because they had to take a terror test, and I was hoping they would fail, and they did. And having failed it, that means they can't shoot on his next shooting phase, which is absolutely huge. Huge, huge, huge. Very nice. Very glad to see that happen. I charge a Razor Gore into his detachment of archers down here. They put 1 wound on him from stand and shoot. The Doombull tried to charge the great swords and failed it. And then if you look to the right, another Razor Gore charged his other detachment. So this side of the board looks like that. Other side of the board, charge a chariot into his steam tank. I think in the past I never would have thought to do that, but I played against a Warriors player who did this to me, and I know that Chaos Warrior chariots in the old book and probably the new one are better than Beastmen chariots, but those impact hits, if they just can put a couple wounds on it, makes a big, big difference. If you look at the right, the Harpies charged the cannon, and again, I think if I hadn't cheated with the Vanguard, they still would have been able to make that charge. Now, if you look at the handgunners, they're fleeing. That's because my unit of Gore charged him and he fled. I think that was a really smart move because had he stayed there, I would have won, and that would have reformed into horde formation facing down his flank, and he would have not been in a very good position there. So we fled with him, and I had already declared my charge with the Harpies, which is a shame because had I not, the Harpies could have charged him and that would have got rid of that unit, but whatever. So during the magic phase, I turned my level 4 into a Great Horned Dragon. I just did the lower version of that spell, and I really like that. It just gives me a lot of options, and he has to burn dice in his magic phase to get rid of it. In so doing, I miscast and put a wound or a strength 10 hit on all spellcasters, and my level 4, he rolled a 1 to wound, but both my level 1s took a wound, so now kind of scared. They're a miscast away from dying. And then over here, the Harpies kill the cannon. The Master Engineer fails his panic test and runs 10 inches off the board. And if you look at the Razor Gore, he kills 3 of the archers, but because they're detachment with the great swords and they're within 3 inches, they're stubborn, so they stick. So very nicely done there. And then over here, again, this Razor Gore kills 3 of the archers. They're not within 3 inches, they're not stubborn, and they stick anyway. So, well done, archer detachments. And the chariot did exactly what I needed it to do. Put 2 wounds in the steam tank. I don't know if that was from impact hits or from the Bestigor. Either way, it doesn't matter. That's what I needed it to do. Now, if he wants to generate any steam points whatsoever, he's got a 50-50 chance of misfiring. And that's very nice. The Harpies here on the far side of the board kill the cannon and then just turn to face down his flank. So we go to Empire turn 2. For the most part, in the center, his greatswords stay where they are and his knights back up. And then at the top of this picture, you can see he charged his halberdiers into my large unit of Gore, which I thought was it struck me as risky, but I can see why he did it. His captain on Pegasus turns around to threaten my wizards around the Hearthstone. And it looks like that. And the problem is, especially with that house there, and I did that on purpose, my guys can dance around to where he probably won't be able to charge him, because I can get behind the house, be an inch away from it, and he can't fit in between. When he tries to generate steam points, he misfires and puts a wound on my chariot and doesn't wound himself. And here's his halberdiers coming into my unit. It looks like I have some Gore facing this way as if he's in my flank. He's not. It's just I wanted to be in horde formation, but because of terrain, I had to go bus. So I know during his magic phase he's going to try to get rid of my Great Horned Dragon, and I'm thinking that's just fine because you won't have enough dice to do the other spells that you need to. His handgunners rally, and he moves his detachment of halberdiers up to block my Bestigor, so they can't charge his halberdiers in the flank, and everything else looks like you can see. Here's a better picture of that upcoming battle. And of course the problem was during his magic phase he gets rid of my Great Horned Dragon, so my wizard's back there, and he's channeling 8 dice. He's in the Celestial Hurricane gives him a die, so he's got a lot of dice, and he gets the speed of light. So these guys are initiative 10, and more importantly, they're weapon skill 10. So now he's hitting me on 3s, re-rollable because he has a warrior priest, and wounding me on 4s, and I have no armor save. I'm hitting him on 5s, probably re-rollable, wounding on 4s, and then wounded on 4s, and then he has a 6-up armor save. So now I'm a little bit nervous. He also has more combat res because he has the battle standard bearer there. Anyway, we're going to get in a challenge with his battle standard bearer and my level 4, which is why his BSB traded places with a wizard. So after combat, this was hilarious. If you look at the top, I mean, that the Razor Gore killed the remaining 2 archers up there, and if you look at the bottom, I had a Razor Gore with 1 wound on him facing 2 archers. These guys, I think they failed their fear test. They need 5s to hit, and they hit twice. And their strength 3 against toughness 5, they need 6s to wound, and they wound twice, and they kill them. That's awesome. Way to go, guys. So we go to Beastmen turn 3. Gorgon charges those 2 archers, hoping he can handle it. If you look at the bottom, the Harpies charge his Hellblaster. Lots of things going on. I wanted to bring both my wizards around behind the terrain, but the one on the right failed his march test, so I just got moved out of the captain's line of sight. Here, my Bestigor went ahead and charged his detachment. You can see I shifted from bus formation to horde formation just to get more attacks. I've got the Crown of Command on my level 4, and he's fairly survivable, so I think that's just the better option here. And I was waiting for a picture of it, but I think my Doom Bull got the charge into the Great Swords this turn. Harpies charges handgunners. We just have fighting going on all the way around. Yeah, there we go. You can see the Doom Bull is in combat with the Great Swords. It's always a little bit risky. On the first turn, it's not too risky because I know I get some impact hits. He's going to sacrifice a champion, and I've got a charge and whatever wounds from impact hits. I should be okay the first turn. Second turn is going to get dicey for him. Yeah, there we go. And then I just move my my Razor Gore up. I'm thinking to sacrifice him just to make sure those knights don't charge anybody that I don't want them to charge. So after combat, the Harpies win. They couldn't overrun, it doesn't matter. The Gorgon wins and has to overrun D6. He's got a couple frenzy markers on him. The problem is he can't see anything to charge. It looks like from this angle that he could see the Hurricanum, but he can't, which is a real bummer. If you look at the Doom Bull, he charged in, with impact hits and the charge. I had enough combat res killing his champion that I actually won combat. The problem is next time he's going to issue a challenge with his Archlector, who's got I believe a 1-up armor save, which at strength 6 goes to a 4-up armor save. He gets to reroll once, but that's still enough of a save. I've got to do 4 wounds to get past his static combat res, and that's making me nervous. Bestigor easily chop up the detachment, overrun and catch them, so they are, as you can see. And so his knights have been backing up, but the problem is now they don't have any choice but to charge my Bestigor. And if they charge, I mean, he's going to do some damage, but for the most part, I'll almost certainly be steadfast, probably rerollable, and in the long term, Bestigor are going to beat any knight unit in the game. So rerolling to hit strength 6 is very, very helpful. And then up here, it's making me nervous. He's winning this combat with the halberdiers every time because I just can't wound him. I'm hitting on anyway, I'm hitting on 5s. He's hitting on 3s. He's strength 4. I'm only strength 3. It's tough. If you look at the top left, the Harpies actually beat the handgunners, but couldn't break them. So we go to Empire turn 3. His knights finally charge. They charge the Razor Gore. I flee because I actually want him coming into my Bestigor, so they charge the Bestigor. And he just really did, at this point he had no choice. Charge me or I was going to charge him on my turn. Yeah. I'm really hoping for a really small magic phase, and it's not going to happen because he gets 12 dice. And yeah, that's not good. Yeah, not a whole lot of movement on his side because he doesn't have anything to move. I know after fighting here, his battle standard bearer and my level 4 are both down to 1 wound each. So that's kind of scary. During the magic phase, he gets off Speed of Light and the spell where I am -1 to hit. So now it's even worse. My guys are hitting on 6s, and that's just not pretty. And the spell was the big version, so that applied to the knights as well. So the knights came in, I mean, hitting on 3s rerollable. I'm hitting him on 6s rerollable because he's weapon skill 10 and he has the -1 to hit. I mean, this is just ugly. He just kills a lot of Bestigor. Over here, I was only able to do 2 wounds on his Archlector with my Doom Bull. I rolled a 1 on the stomp even. I mean, oh, it was so frustrating. So I only did 2 wounds. He's got static combat res 4. He wins by 2. I lose my frenzy, but more importantly, I've got to roll a 6 or under rerollable. And thank goodness I was able to do it, because I was really, really nervous. But now I have the same problem again the next round of combat, because I've got 1 chance to do a bunch of wounds. I'm more than likely not going to do 4 wounds on him, considering I only have 5 attacks. So we go to Beastmen turn 4. Harpies charge the front of the Hurricanum. I need to get rid of that +1 to hit. I'm not really worried about it too much, the Great Swords, but it's affecting the Knights as well. The Gorgon, like I said, couldn't see anything, so it just kind of swings around the left-hand side. I really like where he is. You can see this Gore unit that was started off my corner. It's kind of moving all the way down the board. Yeah, so it looks like that. I kill him. I do 1 overkill on the Archlector. Again, I'm on a 6 rerollable, and again, the Doom Bull makes it. Absolutely huge. With the Doom Bull against the Great Swords, if they're all attacking him, I'm golden. He'll crush them because they have all these attacks. That's going to give me armor saves and extra attacks. But when he's got a character that's a real tank, that's the Doom Bull's very vulnerable. So I am more than a little lucky that I didn't fail one of those. We go over here. I only kill 2 knights because I'm hitting on 6s. I just can't get the wounds through. And I think he kills 6 more Bestigor. I mean, he killed like 10 or so the first time. It was ugly. He killed like 6 of them. It is not pretty. But again, if he ever has a bad magic phase, I'm going to chop him up. If I have anybody left to chop him up. If you look at the top, his steam tank killed my chariot at his last turn. This time, I don't know if you remember, the sword on my level 4 was one that if you take a wound, you have 1 less attack. So his battle standard bearer only had 2 attacks. But he was able to hit and wound and get past my ward save to kill my level 4. And otherwise, yeah, with all those buffs, easily won combat. My level 4 is dead, so it's no longer stubborn. And he couldn't run me down, which was nice. But the problem is now it's his turn. So to get Empire turn 4, he charges his level 1 out of the unit, and he's able to catch my my horde of Gore. And the rest of his halberdiers just turn around and walk back as fast as they can. Steam tanks comes over to join the fray. The captain on Pegasus charges the rear of my Bestigor. After combat last time, I took him out of horde formation and just went ranks, just in case I lose, just to be steadfast. And the problem with the magic phase this time is that his level 4 is 13.5 inches away from his knights, so he doesn't have the 12-inch range that he needs for this Lore of Light. So if you look at the knights, they are very, very much weakened. The Harpies charge the front of the Hurricanum. I think it was a tied combat. The Doom Bull just went to town on the Great Swords. He actually reformed to get out of horde formation because he didn't want as many attacks on my Doom Bull. Yeah, there's that. 1 wound on his captain on Pegasus. I'm missing some more guys, but really he's not doing much now, and I really chopped up his knights that time. So Beastman turn 5. Razorgore charges it. This is where, I mean, obviously it's falling apart for the Empire. Razorgore comes to the flank of the Hurricanum. The Gorgon goes to the flank of the Knights. My unit of Gore that, for all intents and purposes, has been in reserve the whole game, they finally make it to combat, charging the flank of the captain on Pegasus. After combat, the Hurricanum runs off the board, or is caught by Razorgore. Either way, I don't know. The Doombull has now won 2 combats in a row. This time the greatswords broke, and of course he couldn't catch him, but it doesn't matter. I don't need him to do anything else in the game except chase these guys off the board, so he should be able to do that. Over here, yeah, we killed the rest of the knights, broke the captain, pursued him with everything I had, couldn't catch him. I was hoping to run into the steam tank with this unit of gore just to tie it up so he doesn't have too many choices, but I couldn't. And then if you look at, I should have said this earlier, but if you look at his halberdiers in the upper right, this gore unit actually charged them first, and it would have been we would have been in their flank. So he fled, and that's why they're out there. And my harpies had flown over here earlier in my turn, so that if he doesn't rally with his halberdiers, they could charge him off the board. So Empire turn 5. Now that's Empire turn 5, but we thought it was turn 4. We had so much going on. I don't know if you, at the first of this game, I don't know if you noticed the bright light coming in from the door because it was noon. Now the sun's going down. So anyway, great swords rally. His halberdiers don't rally. They don't run off the board, but he's in a real bad spot because my harpies could charge him right off the board. Nobody else can charge him because his captain on Pegasus rallied. I don't know if you can see him. He's on those ruins, but he's blocking my Bestigor. So he takes his steam tank and turns him and goes d6 inches. So it's blocking my gore from charging halberdiers, and he's going to lay the flame template down on my harpies. And it kills 2 of the 3. The other one fails his break test and runs. I would have loved it if he'd had one guy left, pass his break test, his panic test, and charge his halberdiers off the board. I mean, it's halberdiers. It's his battle standard bearer. It's 2 wizards. That would have been nice. So Beastman turn 6. Charge my gore into his steam tank just to tie that thing up. Bestigor and Gorgon. No, Bestigor into his captain on Pegasus. The Gorgon just swings all the way around because, again, we thought it was turn 5. Doombull goes into the greatswords and chops them up, but they're stubborn and they stick. Bestigors make short work of the captain on Pegasus. They reform so they can charge either the halberdiers or the steam tank. I'm really thinking the steam tank. It's down a lot of wounds now. I think it has only 4 wounds left. The gore were actually able to put a wound or 2 on it. It was pretty sweet. Empire turn 6, he finally rallies the halberdiers. His level 1 that was in front of the woods comes over so he can make sure he can chase my harpy off the table. Like I said, they rally. Great swords. I don't think I beat him and ran him down. I think he just killed the rest of them. And over here, I think this is where my gore put a second wound on the steam tank, so he's just getting down to fewer and fewer. I think he has 4 wounds left. Beastman turn 7. We thought it was turn 6. Bestigor come in the rear of the steam tank. The Gorgon goes into the front of the halberdiers. I love that picture. I'm certain I'm going to win, and he's going to be steadfast, and he's just going to pass it or not. So he has 1 wound on his BSB, so I throw, I think, 3 attacks on him, trying to kill him so he doesn't get the reroll. Otherwise, I'm just going against rank and file. And yeah, I think he does 1 wound to me, and I just kill his BSB, but he's steadfast and he sticks. The Bestigor come in, and especially with my battle standard bearer, who has a great weapon, they do 3 wounds to the steam tank. Steam tank has 1 wound left. So in his turn, he just goes for 5 steam points, knowing that he's auto-failing it, blows up, puts a few wounds on my gore, puts a ton of wounds on my Bestigor, but he couldn't kill them all. So it's like that. And over here, again, I killed a bunch of guys. He was steadfast and he stuck. So that was the end of the game. Obviously, a big victory to the Beastmen. Although I keep saying I feel bad about the Harpies, I don't think that really affected the game very much at all. I think my Doombull sticking on 6 rerollable was absolutely huge. Other than that, I don't know. I know that I was able to get the matchups I wanted, and getting the Doombull into the greatswords, the Bestigor against the knights, And even my Horde of Gore against his Halberdiers, that's the matchup I wanted. That's what I would have gone for. So um, I think if anything, the Empire would have been helped out by trying to make sure I didn't get the matchups that suited me. And backing the Knights up just made it so he didn't have a whole lot of options. But I don't know. Hindsight's 2020. If he had killed the Doom Bowl, if his shooting would have gone better first turn, who knows what would have happened. But anyway, that's it. That's the game. Hope you enjoyed it.